you were on trial, who would you want in your jury? When lawyers conduct voir dire, the process of selecting a jury out of a jury pool, they ask everyone a series of questions. These questions could range from what kind of TV shows or newspapers do you read? Or do you know the judge? Do you know the defendant? The process seems a bit silly, but it does one very important thing. It teaches us to think of each other as fellow citizens, as fellow decision makers. Now, this is very important, especially if we think about African Americans. There is an existing gap in America. African Americans are convicted 98% of the time. White defendants are convicted 80% of the time. However, having one African American on the jury veneer, not even on the final jury, means that the resulting gap of 18% is going to disappear, and both are convicted at 80%. It turns out that the reason is because the process of voir dire makes us think of that African American as another citizen, as another decision maker. And so we are not left with the only impression of the African American in the room as being the one in the defendant's table. Our system of justice is conceived of one where people come together from a cross-section of the community, bring their experiences, and apply them to a case. Diverse juries do, in fact, make better juries. They spend more time discussing the case, they bring up more facts, they make fewer errors, they correct each other more often, and they're more willing to discuss the controversial aspects of the case. More importantly, serving on the jury means that the person who serves on that jury is going to participate in civic engagement more often and vote for at least 2 years after jury service. Given this, I have an idea. What if a simple machine could make the justice system more truthful, fair, and representative? I am a farm workers' rights attorney here in Yakima. The clients that I represent are some of the most marginalized people in society. When they march into the courtroom, they are marching against centuries of oppression. Last year, we helped represent 15 immigrant female farm workers who claimed they were sexually assaulted at work. As some of you may know, the jury chose not to believe them. We interviewed the jury after the trial and discovered that many of them could not fathom the lives of our clients. They could not understand why our clients wouldn't tell the police, why they couldn't quit their jobs, or why they couldn't just tell the owner. Well, the jury was all white. And for me, this told us a story about the problems that many of our clients face when trying to get justice. And we decided we needed to look deeper into the jury selection system. In Washington, we use an at-large system of selecting juries. Essentially, a state department takes the voter registration list and the driver's license list and merges them. State courts select at random from this list. Federal courts select at random and then pre-qualify people and then select at random again. Now, this may seem simple. It's fair, it's reasonable. So what's the problem? The problem comes because every time we select at random from this list, we reinforce the assumptions that go into creating the list. We assume that people won't move because there's no updating system. We assume that everyone is registered to vote, but we know that minorities are far less likely to be registered. We know that the driver's license list doesn't capture huge portions of the minority population here in the Yakima Valley. And more importantly than that, we make assumptions about the reasons why people don't go to jury service. Does lack of English language translation affect everyone equally? Does lack of good juror pay, childcare, or translation affect every racial and ethnic category equally? These are some of the reasons why at-large systems of selecting juries don't actually work. Now, courts are not obligated to fix all of these social problems, but that doesn't mean that they can just stand back and do nothing. The Sixth Amendment guarantees us an impartial jury That means a fair cross-representation of the population. In jury law, if there's a systematic error and you could fix it, you must. If you could fix it, you must. This is a powerful concept in favor of justice. It comes from an era when women were not showing up on the juries, and courts got tired of all the non-discriminatory reasons why that was the case. The command for a fair cross-section is absolute. Now think about Yakima. 47% of this county's population is Latino. 33.4% once we take into account the neighboring counties. Of those who are jury eligible, that is, US citizens 18 and above, 19.6% are Latino. That means that an average jury pool should have 12 Latinos in it. What are we seeing? Well, this we know. The jury wheel is 11% Latino, meaning that Latinos are 45% less likely to be called to jury service. This is fairly significant. Now think back to that wheel and that machine I was talking about. Today, predictive analytics allows us to do everything from selling diapers to expectant mothers to making medicine production faster based on historical trends. The idea is actually fairly simple. We don't know what individual people are going to do, but based on historical data, we could predict fairly accurately what large groups of people are going to do over time. The mailers the court are using are the key. What I propose is weighted geocentric randomized mailing. A mailing system that selects at random based on very small geographies, say 1,000 people. It sends as many mailers to that small geography as are needed to select a juror from there based on historical trends. So say it takes 10 mailings to get one juror in one location and 2 mailings to get one juror in another location. It makes that happen. This idea takes what we know and makes use of it. We know that every locale is not equal. We know that we could predict fairly accurately your health, education, income based on where you live. We also know that weighted randomized phone sampling at small geographies does work in the phone sampling systems. These tools have been used in the social sciences for over 20 years, and they're getting more sophisticated as time moves on. Now, this isn't an idea that's going to replace the whole system. We need to do more. We need to educate the public about jury service. We need to change the way that many people feel about the criminal justice system. We probably should be paying jurors more, providing translation, childcare, and better transportation. This is just one idea. On the other hand, it is a powerful idea because it takes a neutral process and adjusts it to the realities of the world that we live in. It also does something else. It includes people who are not historically protected under the Sixth Amendment, people who are poor, people who don't have driver's licenses, people who are less likely to vote. Now, jury diversity isn't simply a problem that affects my clients. It affects the entire justice system here in Washington. Justice Gonzalez of the Washington Supreme Court has even proposed that we eliminate the process of allowing attorneys to remove jurors. The Minority and Justice Commission, a group of Washington state judges, has been working to bring attention to the issue of disproportionality in our justice system. The work that I and our partners do is a response to these challenges. We aim to use advanced demographic techniques to capture, track, diagnose minority dilution where it is occurring. And we aim to propose changes that will make a real difference. This idea is just a start. Now, my question to you all is this. If you were facing a jury to decide the truth of what happened to you, wouldn't you want a jury of your peers? If the answer to that question is yes, then you have to be part of the solution. Aside from voting, it is the most powerful way in which a citizen can impact this democracy. Jury service makes us better citizens. It teaches us about ourselves and our community, and it legitimizes the processes of our society. Each of us has to learn the value of that service. And if given the privilege, we must speak truth on our behalf and on behalf of those not in the room. Thank you.